Hi, listeners. I'm Jeff Delvisio, the Chief Multimedia Editor and Executive Producer here at Scientific American. I work every day alongside Rachel and Fonda and the rest of our crew here at SciAm to bring you science quickly. But before we dive into today's episode, I want to share something very personal and important. I spent the last 25 years of my life telling stories about science. I've written, filmed, recorded, and animated the discoveries that shape our world. Whether it's exploring science inside of biosafety labs or out on ice sheets, I've witnessed the power of science journalism. But here's the hard truth. Journalism like ours is getting harder to do. Newsrooms are shrinking, misinformation is growing, and responsible reporting, real, verified human reporting, takes time, care, and support. Subscribing to Scientific American is the best way to keep science journalism alive. By subscribing to SciAm, you're supporting the work we do to bring you science quickly. Please consider getting a subscription today at scientificamerican.com/getsciam/science quickly. As Thomas Jefferson once said, if a nation expects to be ignorant and free in a state of civilization, it expects what never was, never will be. I know we all want to live free, so let's keep learning together.
Happy Monday, listeners. For Scientific American Science Quickly, I'm Rachel Feltman. Let's kick off the week with a quick roundup of the latest science news. First, some public health updates. Measles is continuing to spread in the U.S., with 712 cases confirmed so far in 2025 as of April 11th, according to the CDC. For reference, there were just 285 confirmed cases in all of 2024. The CDC has confirmed 2 deaths from measles this year and is investigating a third. Last week, the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices met after its planned meeting in February was postponed. During the meeting last Tuesday, a scientist leading the CDC's measles report said the number of measles cases is likely underreported. But measles isn't the only illness that's increasingly putting kids at risk. Cases of whooping cough, or pertussis, are up by more than 1,500% nationwide compared with 2021, according to recent reporting by ProPublica. Deaths from whooping cough are also on the rise. Caused by the bacterium Bordetella pertussis, whooping cough spreads easily between humans. Even people with mild symptoms can pass the microbe along, and the resulting illness can be much worse in vulnerable individuals like babies. While some infants will just have cold symptoms, others can develop pneumonia and difficulty breathing. The best way to prevent the spread of pertussis and to avoid serious symptoms if you do get it is with the DTaP or Tdap vaccine, both of which offer combined protection against diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. The CDC recommends that all children get doses of the DTaP vaccine at 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, sometime between 15 and 18 months, and again sometime from age 4 to 6. Kids should then get a Tdap booster from age 11 to 12. The CDC also recommends that people get a Tdap booster while pregnant, ideally between 27 and 36 weeks, to help confer immunity to their newborns. If you're an adult who's never been immunized against pertussis, you can get a Tdap shot at any age. You can also opt to get a Tdap jab when it's time for a tetanus booster in case your immunity against whooping cough has waned. According to ProPublica, vaccination rates among kindergarten students have fallen for measles, mumps, and rubella, pertussis, diphtheria, and tetanus, hepatitis B, and polio. In other public health news, a new CDC study published last Tuesday shows a rise in the autism rate in children. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, which is helmed by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., put out a statement about the report that claimed it showed a persistent rise in autism spectrum disorder prevalence and an alarming escalation in case severity. But this contradicts the conclusion of the study's own authors. The report actually suggests that rates of autism spectrum disorder are likely rising because early detection is improving, especially in groups that previously had less access to diagnostics. Kristen Sohl, who chairs the Autism Subcommittee of the American Academy of Pediatrics Council on Children with Disabilities, told CNN that the results of the report were encouraging. Looking back to simpler times, a study published last Wednesday in the journal Science Advances explored how ancient humans survived something called the Le Champ event. This incident about 41,000 years ago was a geomagnetic excursion, which is where the Earth's magnetic poles move around. While the North and South poles didn't completely flip, they did kind of wander. The planet's magnetic field was much weaker than usual during this period. According to the authors of the new study, it was running at something like 10% of its current strength. Given that Earth's magnetic field helps protect us from cosmic radiation, it's likely that people were exposed to more UV light as a result. During this time, Homo sapiens seem to have started using the naturally occurring pigment ochre more often, according to the study. Ochre has been shown to provide sun protection. The researchers also saw an uptick in humans' use of caves in times and places that solar radiation would have posed more of a threat. Speaking of cosmic happenings, another study from last week's Science Advances describes a planet with an unprecedented orbit. The story starts with a pair of rare, failed stars about 120 light-years away. They're both brown dwarfs, which sit somewhere between gas giants and small stars on the planet-to-star spectrum. Brown dwarfs interest scientists because they seem to form the way stars do, but they don't actually manage the hydrogen fusion that gives stars their light. Back in 2020, this couple made the news because scientists caught one of them eclipsing the other. Eclipsing brown dwarf pairs are really rare, and the passage of one in front of the other helps scientists make certain observations to calculate their masses. Now this binary system is proving to be even more rare than we thought. It features a planet that orbits perpendicularly around them instead of orbiting roughly along the same plane on which the brown dwarfs themselves orbit. That's never been seen in a binary star system before. Still in space, but much closer to home, scientists have found new evidence that Mars once had a carbon cycle. In a study published last Thursday in Science, researchers report that the Curiosity rover dug up a mineral called siderite when drilling the Gale crater. This mineral is made of iron and carbonate, and it indicates that carbon once moved through the red planet's environment similarly to how it does on Earth. That supports the idea that Mars once had a thicker atmosphere that could support liquid water. And speaking of making a splash, we'll end on a fun note with a very, very tiny colossal squid. The species, which was first discovered a century ago, has never been caught on camera in its natural habitat. Now, using a remote-controlled vessel at 1,968 feet below the surface, scientists have finally spotted a colossal squid in the comfort of its deep-sea home. This one is young, so it's only about a foot long, but it could grow to be as long as 23 feet in adulthood and might weigh as much as 1,100 pounds. You can check out the footage for yourself on our YouTube channel. You'll find a link to that in our show notes. That's all for this week's Science News Roundup. We'll be back on Wednesday. Science Quickly is produced by me, Rachel Feltman, along with Fonda Mwangi, Kelso Harper, Naima Marcy, and Jeff Delvisio. This episode was edited by Alex Seguiara. Shayna Poses and Aaron Shattuck fact-check our show. Our theme music was composed by Dominic Smith. Subscribe to Scientific American for more up-to-date and in-depth science news. For Scientific American, this is Rachel Feltman. Have a great week.